Hi everyone, it's Jack here from Esports Live. Sorry to crash the podcast. A quick thank you to you all for all your support so far. We hope you like what you're hearing, even if our advice is absolute nonsense. Make sure you subscribe to our videocast on YouTube and Twitch channels, as well as follow us on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, or if you prefer the podcast, subscribe on Spotify and Apple. Search Esports Live now on any of the platforms to get involved. We've got some exciting things happening in the background. Get ready for the Euros and the Fantasy Premier League season 21-22. Get involved now, don't miss out, and enjoy the pod.
Fantasy managers, hello and welcome back to another edition of the FPL Addicts and Esports Live Fantasy Weekly videocast and podcast. Today we will review game week 35 and what a game week it was, and be previewing game week 36. With me as always are the usual culprits. We've got Jack and Matt. Jack, how are you doing, mate?
I'm not doing too bad, mate. It was a struggle to come on the pod after that result this morning, and obviously seeing City get the take out the title finally. So yeah, tough week, but a good week in FPL.
Yeah, and that's what we've got to look forward to on the podcast. Another man who hasn't had the best week in the footballing world is Matt Day, the Guru. How are you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks, Elliot. As you can see, I've turned my attention to England, so I forgot about the Premier League now. And yeah, look, FPL, what a crazy week that was. And, we've discussed this amongst ourselves, but, I got a triple-digit score and still got a red arrow. So, yeah, a bit gutted about that. But that's the nature of the league this season.
An absolutely mental week in FPL. Hopefully there's no other seasons just like this one. But as you were saying, all attention now turns to the Euros and to England. And for a lot of football fans, I'm sure that'll be what they are holding out for. But with the season now, the 3 relegation spaces have been decided and the champions have been decided. So all there is to play for most teams, unless you are a Spurs fan, is the top 4 places and the Europa League spots. And it looks like Spurs are cruising for more Thursday nights out in Albania. But we'll never know, and it could be Liverpool to take it out. I read today, lads, that if Liverpool win all 3 of their remaining games, they're guaranteed top 4 because Chelsea and Leicester have got to play each other. So, they were counted out a while ago, but they're still in it now. But Jack, you foreshadowed it before about the bad results from Man United. What a crazy week it was, just from you as a Man United fan. Was it weird, just a game and then 2 days later another game and more and more and more?
It's obviously last week we were talking about 4 games in 7 days is absolutely ridiculous. Like, players even at this level, you think, they just get them on the pitch and play, but it showed this week it's not always that easy, especially when you're Man United and you haven't exactly had a good last 8 years or so. It's even harder. But this morning was very difficult with the defeat. We went 1-0 up, and it was tough watching, and Bobby Firmino stepping up and scoring 2. He hasn't done anything versus us ever, and he's had a bit of a shocker of a season. He's pulled out 2 out there and led it. But Liverpool were all over us. To be fair, we were sloppy. We were really sloppy. It was a good 60 minutes where we were non-existent. And the game against Leicester, maybe a bit too much rotation. But what's Ollie going to do? It's a tough one to do. In that respect, I don't know what you guys thought, but not a great week at all. And handing City the title without a bit more pressure would have been nice.
Yeah, unfortunately for you, Man City have walked away with the title now. Not many people are caring too much about that, though, to be honest. Let's be real. Haven't heard too much about it. A bit of a nothing title win, in my opinion, and I'm sure Matt won't disagree.
You saw the 3 fans outside the Etihad, didn't you, this week, celebrating? That's about as good as it gets for City.
There was a big contrast compared to the Sporting Lisbon title win in Portugal. I think if you saw their celebrations and compared it to Man City, and there's a big difference. So it's a complete contrast between the 2 title wins.
Absolutely, and the celebrations that you had this week, Matt, were non-existent as you fell short to a Leeds side who are still battling there in the mid-table. But will you just analyse the game for us?
Yeah, look, again, Leeds, just brilliant football throughout the game, really well-drilled side. I don't think we really turned up, to be honest. I thought we were quite unlucky with the Harry Kane VAR goal that was disallowed. I think that would have been obviously brilliant for all of our fantasy teams. And, that was a bit of a shame from that point of view. But Dele Alli, it was nice to see him return. I thought he actually had a good game and really got involved. So a bit of me was a bit upset that he's been on that bench all season, and then you see him coming in looking fresh and involved. But overall, I think we did deserve the defeat, and I was really impressed with Leeds and Bielsa there. And I think it's probably where we are about as a club at the moment. Sort of where we're sitting in the tables, probably about right. And no manager, so yeah, like I said, I'm all about the Euros now. So forgot about this season.
Move on to the next one, and come on England is what a lot of fans will be saying. But despite your two shocking results from your teams this week, lads, none of the players that your teams played against feature in my 3 shocks of the week. So the average this week in Fantasy League was 83 points, and I'm probably inclined to say that's the highest average that there's been all season. And I'll be inclined to probably suggest that possibly ever the highest average that we've ever had. The highest amount of points in the world was 200 points, which again is absolutely ridiculous. My first shock of the week is Ben Godfrey from Everton, who got 18 points from 2 clean sheets against West Ham and Aston Villa, and 3 bonus points from those 2 games. Secondly, is a man that Matt Day was telling us before he was going to get into his team, but opted not to. It's Gunnar Emil Smith Rowe, the Croydon De Bruyne, they call him. He got 19 points from 2 goals, 2 clean sheets, and 3 bonus points from the 2 games. And then thirdly, we've had Joel Linton on the shocks. I think we've even had this man on before as well. We've got Christian Benteke with 15 points from 2 goals and 3 bonus points from the 2 games. It's not often you see his name popping up, is it, Jack?
Not at all. Do you know something? I actually looked at him on the. Not saying I was going to pick him, right? But everyone was picking Zaha for Palace, and I was thinking Benteke. He's got 2 decent fixtures. He hasn't turned up for a few years either. But I mean, he's he's a big lad. He could definitely get a few goals, can't he? So he looked all right, didn't he? But yeah, definitely went straight past him on both my classic and my draft. So missed out there.
Bit unfortunate. And Matt, I mentioned that you opted out to not transfer in Smith Rowe this week. So how annoyed must you be with that one?
Yeah, look, it's disappointing because it's a double whammy because Arsenal get 2 wins out of it as well, which is a shame. But I think one of my biggest problems this season, I've not been able to adapt to so many games in such short periods of time, and I've been a bit too scared to take the -8s or the -12s, and I've been a bit conservative. So that was one of the reasons I didn't bring him in. I didn't want to take that extra hit, and it's cost me there. So I was disappointed that he obviously come out and got such a big score.
Yeah, we'll move on now and just have a quick look at your team and see how different it could have been with Emil Smith Rowe. You still scored 105 points this week, which, as you said, it's quite absurd to get 105 points and still take red arrows. But just review your team for us this week.
Yeah, look, it looks good on paper, that score, doesn't it? But the reality is, with the way the game week went, it's probably it's above the average, but it could have been so much better. But my transfers with Calvert-Lewin, who'd come in, I thought he did a pretty good job. And then Ward-Prowse and Zaha would just really, really let me down. And Zaha did nearly get an assist in the second game, but Forster, who was obviously on my bench, saved the pen. Ward-Prowse did come close with a free kick, but just didn't quite do it. And not picking Greenwood over Zaha, has cost me there. I just didn't want too many blanks in this next coming game week, and just couldn't quite adapt. So a bit of a letdown there. But look, Fernandez come out with the goods, Salah come out with the goods, Martinez come out with the goods, and Dallas, who only had the one game week, did me well. So I can't complain too much. The Leicester boys let me down, not so much Ihi and Nacho, but Castagna there with the absolute battering they took by Newcastle, which you'll be happy with, Elliot. So yeah, really mixed feelings this week. I think I missed some opportunities in my transfers. I didn't want to take the -8 to put an Everton defender in, and I didn't want to take the extra 12 to put in the additional midfielder in Smith Rowe. So definitely points lost, but we move on. I've got a full 11 this week, and hopefully I can end the season strong, and then move on to to next season, where hopefully it's a little bit more normal and no more triple game weeks.
Sounds such like a Tottenham fan moving on to next season already. Huh?
The poor Guru's already fed up with Fantasy League towards the end of the season. When is it going to end for him? It's not a bad score at all from you there, Matt. Fernandez is the captain. As you said, if you'd had Greenwood over Zaha, you would have had an absolutely brilliant score. Would have blown everyone else out of the water. But you sticking with Zaha for this week? You're going to put your faith in him?
Yeah, look, I'm going to keep my faith. I think home to Villa. That's the thing. I think Ward-Prowse, Zaha, I bring him in for the doubles. They let me down, but this week they've got some nice fixtures, so they could potentially come out and make up for it. So yeah, I'll definitely sit with Zaha, and yeah, just looking at that 105, it just looks so good, but it really just doesn't mean too much when you get a red arrow.
No, unfortunately not. And another man who did break the 100 mark as well with his bench boost was Jack Gillibrand, who got 127 points this game week, which again is absolutely ridiculous. So just walk us through your team, Jack.
Yeah, listen, punching above my weight here, these triple-digit figures. Pretty excited though, and you look at those fixtures. United got that third game with the Liverpool rearrangement. It's I thought, right, well, Greenwood's got to go in. Bruno's definitely being me a captain. I think, to be fair, obviously either way, it would have gone all right with the captain shout, the armband on either of them. Obviously going on with Salah and Jota in my team. It's they obviously did the goods from the FPL team, both scoring, but unfortunately got the beat United, which was a bit painful to watch. However, I did take a -8, brought 3 transfers in, brought Coleman in there. Who else did I bring in? I brought Greenwood in, and then also Watkins, I think it was. So I brought the 3 transfers in. Watkins obviously didn't work out on that one, but obviously the other moves made up for that. So yeah, pretty happy overall. Bench boost was absolute shambles on this occasion. Could have got me even higher. I was hoping for when you look at that, you'd hope for maybe a 150 if you get the bench boost in there as well, but not to be on this occasion. But still happy with the 127, and then obviously with the -8 hit. Yeah,
definitely. And you mentioned Seamus Coleman last week a lot, and he's definitely paid off for you there. A lot of people sort of weren't too sure with the Everton assets, myself included, a little bit apprehensive, but you went with him and it's paid off for you.
Yeah, that's it. I think, obviously, if you look at the 2 Everton assets, it was Digne and Coleman. Depending on what you had in your budget available. Coleman I had just enough for. I think I had 4.9 left, and that's what it was. So it kind of worked out brilliant in that respect. He's on good form. I think he's done 3 or 4 games now back to back where he's had double digits, so he's scored quite high. So he's a great asset to have in there, and also going forward with the Sheffield United game. I think they got not Wolves after United got Wolves. They got
they do have Wolves, Jack.
Is it Wolves? Yeah, that's right.
Wolves at home. Yeah.
So yeah, two good fixtures at home following that. So good assets to have in there. I'm not too sure how much the old boy Coleman can keep up though.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how he gets on in recent weeks. Whilst you had your Seamus Coleman, I had my Joel Ward that I kept going on about last week, and he helped me to get 118 points with my bench boost. Schmeichel and Castagna, obviously, with the blank against Steve Bruce's Mags, keeping them up in the Premier League. Everything that you love to see on a Friday night away day under the lights. Stuart Dallas continued his excellent form as he blasted one against Spurs, giving him 9 points for me. Lingard and Luke Shaw was the surprising one for me this week with his triple blank, because he didn't do anything for me. Kabak also got injured, but from there, Greenwood as the captain, put my faith in him, one of the highest scoring form players in FPL in recent weeks. Salah, brilliant again. Guaita, Jota and Joel Ward on my bench boost, definitely worth it. And then Bamford and Iheanacho with the 9 points respectively. And of course, Son grabbed the goal against Leeds as well. So very, very happy with the 118 points for me this week. And it is the first time that I've reached over 100, lads. I remember both of you have broken over the 100 mark, haven't you, this season already? But this is the first time for me.
Yeah, I have in one of the previous double game weeks, and I think I come close in one of the others. I think, Jack, was this your first time then as well? So
yes,
your second time? Your second time?
Johnson, I can't even remember, lads, if I'm honest. But I'd like to say it's my second one that I do it regularly. But yeah, I think I would have been up there. I think when I went over maybe 105 or 110, something like that. But yeah, in terms of this one, it was the United assets taking it up to the 120s. It was unbelievable.
Can I just say, Elliot, looking at your team, you obviously didn't have Bruno Fernandes this week. How did you feel when he got that penalty against Villa, and then he got given that goal this morning? And I'm sure you must have.
Come on, Guru.
I thought, in Matt's defence, thought it should have been an own goal as well at first glance, but clearly everyone at Premier League HQ had Bruno Fernandes as their captains in their fantasy teams as well.
Come on, boys! Yeah, of course they did. But outside the foot, it was going bottom corner. It was whipping in. When you've played, lads. When you've played, you can feel it. It was going in.
Oh.
not too sure about that one, but leave that one up to the Premier League officials to decide back at the HQ. But no, Matt, it was a little bit nervous going into this week without Bruno Fernandes, because everybody's sort of got him, don't they? He was their captains for this week, so I was hoping that he didn't grab a goal this morning, and that would have sort of helped me rocket up the mini leagues a little bit more with Greenwood. But in the end, they both got the same amount of points, so I decided to put my faith in Mason and use that extra money to invest in couple of different areas. So I definitely don't regret it, but it would have been really nice to have them both, but that would have meant taking Kane or Son out, and I'm not really too sure about that one. And then obviously, as you mentioned, Man United have got a blank game week, so it's probably not going to be worth it for me in the long run. But we'll move on now to Ollie's team, and he actually didn't even break the 100 point mark this week. That's why he's absent. We fired him. He's off. He's not getting back on unless he's getting over 100 this week, and he only got 90 points. And you just sort of look around, and for a normal week, it would be a brilliant score. Bruno's his captain. Wan-Bissaka did well for him, but to not get over 100 points in this game week, it's quite ridiculous from Ollie, isn't it? Especially how respected he thinks he is as an FPL manager, but a little bit of a fraud, I guess, isn't he?
Yeah, he would definitely be upset. This is the game week if you've got to hit over 100. So, he'd be very disappointed. I think just looking at his side there, he probably lacked a few extra double game weekers, so he'll be wanting to bounce back this week, knowing that he's got pretty much a full squad. But I think he'll definitely be kicking himself, with that score this week. Which like we said, normally 90 points is is huge, but in this game week, not so good. But he did beat the average, which I know he takes good pride in. So we'll give him that as a consolation this week.
If I'm not mistaken, he's beaten the average in every single game week so far, so he's definitely going to take that home, that trophy home towards the end of the season. Not really sure if many people care about that one, but he obviously takes pride in it. So good on Ollie there. So fair play to him. And we'll introduce Chris Reed now. He's a bit of a legend on the podcast. He's been on a fair amount, and he's back on today. Must be as happy as he can be the morning after a win against Man United away. So how are you doing, Chris?
Hi, Elliot. Yeah, I'm pretty good, as you can imagine. Relieved, if anything, to be honest, because it was a big game really, and it was on the brink of potentially being called off. I think a few people would have been a bit worried, but the game went ahead anyway, and we absolutely stuffed them.
Well done on you finishing 5th this year, Chris.
No, it's a small step towards obviously Champions League place, and I think that's obviously the main objective. We need to be getting a Champions League place if we do want to make any big transfers in the summer, whether that'll be the case anyway. But that's the priority, top 4 for any of those 6 clubs really. So if we can get that, I'll be buzzing after this season we've had, because we've been shocking. So.
That's one hell of a recovery by Liverpool as well, if they're to make that top 4. So, considering where you were at a couple of months ago.
Absolutely.
Just call it a bit more of an embarrassment, if I'm honest, but yeah, go on.
Beating Man United on their own turf is never too bad of an achievement. But we spoke before, Chris, you weren't on, but we spoke about Nat Phillips and the possibility of him maybe having an own goal for the Bruno Fernandes goal. Jack was having absolutely none of it, and I'm assuming you will as well, because he's done well for you this week. You got 103 points and he's in your side. So just walk us through where you went well this week.
Nat Phillips is, he's been consistent this season. It would have been harsh to give it as an own goal. I think it was going in, to be honest with you, like it was ended in.
Well done, Reedy. Something we agree on.
So he's been great. So I put him in there over, I think it was Connor Cody, because I had Connor Cody in there for a little bit. I thought he might have been done quite well really with Wolves fixtures. But no, Phillips has done the job for me. Lucas Digne, I put him in because obviously Everton had a couple of fixtures, so he went in. Reece kept him in reluctantly, really. If anything, I think of potentially. I haven't transferred him out yet, but Reece James, Leno's actually finally come through. I was speaking to Jack not long ago. I've had a couple of unlucky weeks for goalkeepers, should I say, where they've not been starting for me, so I've had no points for goalkeepers. So that's been a bit of a relief, to be honest with you. And I think everyone was shocked anyway when Arsenal beat Chelsea and kept a clean sheet. So Zaha, I put him in for this game week, similar to Matt. Really, I was very reluctant to kind of put Greenwood in and have too many assets for this up and coming game week. So I went with Zaha, and he was absolutely pants, as we know. So that's that. But the rest of the team, Fernandez, I've had him for a while. He's obviously captain choice for a lot of people, and he hit, which was great. Son, consistent, suppose. Sigurdsson, been like a thorn in my side, to be honest. Put him in and put some faith in him, and he's not really delivered, to be honest with you. Front three. The only letdown, really, I suppose, is Watkins. A bit of a shame he got sent off in that game against United. But doing okay, I suppose. Top 60 now, just scraped in there.
Not bad from you there, Reedy. And Gylfi Sigurdsson, is he one that you're going to look to take out of your team then? Surely as a Liverpool fan, you're not too big on having him in your team anyway.
Yeah, I did question that decision when I did put him in there. I think it was a few weeks back. I made about 3 transfers and put him in against Arsenal, believe it or not. It was that game. And he's just not, I don't know. He's had a few good free kicks, to be honest with you, that have lucky with it might have gone in on occasion. But I'm keeping him in for now, only because I don't really want to make too many transfers. And that's rich coming from myself. I'm going to keep him in for now. And potentially take him out next game week. So not this one, the week after.
Yeah, definitely a really good choice from you there. I think he's sort of one that you can have as a differential that you sort of thought he would pick up a couple of points for you, which is what you got to do at this sort of business end of the season. I know we spoke a lot about Joel Ward, Reedy, and this sort of manage off the pay in the end for me, luckily. So it's just those sort
Absolutely
of fringe players.
Management, that, yeah.
Absolutely brilliant. Doesn't get better than that. A double Palace. Guaita and Joel Ward and a clean sheet, even from one of the games. I was absolutely thrilled with that. But that's it in terms of our teams. In terms of the mini league this week, we've got our top 5, and the top man, Scott Martin, scored 145 points. So, we were still sort of 20 odd points with our highest score off him. In second, we have Kasim Nakavi. In third, Tom Promosi. In fourth, Zupark O. And then in fifth, it's our very own man, James Gazden. And Matt, we were speaking before about the possibility of getting him and his brother on for one of the final podcasts, because they're quite close, aren't they?
3 points difference now between the two. Look, I'm very I've got to be on the fence because I get messages from Matt Gazden about FPL, and then James also messages me, and I've got to be very careful what sort of tips I give, because I don't want to be seen as siding with one of them. But it's getting very interesting between the two. Really want to keep our eyes on that battle. So I think the last game week we'll get them on and see who wins. But really interesting. James has closed that gap.
It's like having Gary and Phil in it. Gary and Phil on there. Who's your favourite?
Yeah, we'll definitely have to get Gary
Grant
and Phil
Mitchell
on.
And Phil Mitchell.
Definitely have to get them on for a bumper podcast towards the end of the season. Only 2 or 3 games left for most teams now, so it will definitely be interesting. But that wraps up how we went and how the league is shaping up so far this season. So we will move on now to the Guru section, and we've got Matt Day back again. He's got his differentials, his 3 teams to back, and his captain picks.
Thanks, Elliot. Look, number 1 on the list is actually going to be a Manchester City asset against your side, Newcastle, this week. And I'm going to go with Riyad Mahrez. He's 6% owned. Obviously, he's been on absolute fire for City over the last few weeks, especially in the Champions League. And I think he'll be on the team sheet tonight. And it's a good fixture for him. Obviously, you've lost Callum Wilson. And I think Man City should win that one quite comfortably. And at 6% ownership, it's not a bad one to put in there. Especially if you're letting go of one of your midfielders that might have a blank game week, and you've got the money, then it's a pretty good changeover. A second one, he's been in the differential list a few times this season. He was on there a lot at the start of the season. He did used to be in my side. Didn't do too much over these last 2 game weeks, but I'm going to stick with him. I'm going to put Richarlison in there for Everton. 8% ownership home to Sheffield United. So, got to put him in there with that fixture. And obviously he's below the 10% ownership. And then the third one, Antonio, 6.5% ownership, away to Brighton. And Brighton don't have Lewis Dunk, and I think they've got a few other players out injured and suspended. So I think he's a really good option this week at that ownership as well. And then another one, Reedy's going to love this one. And I know Jack's not going to like it after this morning, but it's going to be Bobby Firmino, Bobby Dazzler, 3.4% ownership. He's got West Brom away, coming off the back of a double at Old Trafford. So I think he's a pretty good option as a differential for a striker. If you've got, again, someone who might not be playing, maybe a Cavani who blanks this week and you want to transfer him out, you can put Firmino in. 3.4% ownership, he'd really push you up your leagues if he performs. And then the last one's another striker, one who I really like in FPL. He's been unlucky with injuries this season, but he was brilliant in the double game week. And it's going to be Danny Ings at home to Fulham, 6.4% ownership. Really, really like him. So that wraps up my differentials and ones to watch for the game week.
Yeah, definitely loving the Danny Ings shout there. As you say, it's sort of been a little bit weird with strikers this season in FPL, I think, because there's sort of been the really high-end sort of strikers, and then there's sort of a bit of a gap with players like Raul Jimenez and Danny Ings sort of not performing to the standards that they did last season. So it's good to see him back scoring and doing what he does best. But we'll move on now to your three teams to back. And you spoke about Man City assets, but you've got to back Newcastle against Man City this week at home. Surely Bruce Bull on paper should absolutely show Pep Guardiola how it's done.
Yeah, look, sorry, they obviously didn't make it. We've gone Man City. We've gone the opposite. I'd have liked Newcastle. Look, maybe if Wilson wasn't injured, then there might have been a very small chance of Newcastle maybe being in there. But yeah, it's going to be Manchester City in that one. I think fully fresh squad. They rested a lot of players against Chelsea. And no Callum Wilson. I think City should come out 2 or 3 goals to the good. And then another one. I think after obviously the great performance at Old Trafford, Liverpool away at relegated West Brom. They're definitely going in there this week. And then the last one was. I was tossing up actually between Southampton, who were playing relegated Fulham, and Everton at home to Sheffield United, who obviously are relegated as well. And I went with Everton, obviously based on Sheffield United's form this season. But I think if you back Everton this week, I'd say defensively as well, they're pretty sound, a lot of clean sheets. So that wraps up my 3 teams.
Yeah, very good. Everton, Sheffield United have looked very lifeless. So Everton are definitely, I think most of the weeks you've had the teams that are playing Sheffield United as one of your teams to back this week. So it's definitely no surprise that the Toffees have been included there. But will you take us to your captain picks now?
Yeah, captain picks. Calvert-Lewin's going to go in there. Obviously a good fixture for him. Actually, I did look at the reverse fixture, and he did only get 1 point at Bramall Lane, but you'd expect him to come out with at least a goal in this one. So he's definitely going in there. Mo Salah going in there as well. He's got really good away form, I think, this season as well. Obviously, he's got good form in home and away, but I think his away record's actually pretty decent this season from a stat I read earlier. And I think I'll back him to score against West Brom. And I'm going to put Harry Kane in there as well. Obviously, he's going for the golden boot with Salah. Home to Wolves, another team that he's got a good record against. Patrick Bamford goes in there too, away at Burnley. And then I'm going to put Lingard in there. I know he's had a few quiet weeks, but I'd still back him. I think he's due another goal away at Brighton. So that wraps up my standard captains.
Yeah, Jesse Lingard has sort of been a little bit out of it in past weeks, not performing to his own standards that he's set for himself ever since he's moved to West Ham. But me and a lot of other fantasy managers included would be delighted if he can deliver this week. And will you give us your curveball captain now? Last week it was Marcus Alonso, wasn't it? And it definitely paid off that one, mate. So
no, last week was Luca Digna. Luca Dean.
Well, that paid off even
Everton.
better then, didn't it?
Yeah,
that pulled off even better.
Is that Brian Dean's brother?
You know what? I've never been. I always thought with his pronunciation, there was this. You just silent the G. But yeah, look. Pardon my French. Not so sure. But look, we'll go with the curveball this week, and it's going to be Aguero. I think this week away at Newcastle. huge call, but you've got to look at Aguero's record at that against Newcastle. I actually
It's
had
ridiculous.
him. So that the year the triple captain come into the game, City beat Newcastle. I think it was 5-0 or 6-0 at the Etihad, and Aguero got 5 goals, and I triple captained him that day. So I will always back Aguero at Newcastle. I believe in that same season he got a hat trick at St James's, and it's one of the teams he's just got buckets of goals against. So if you feel he's going to get the start, because although he did miss a pen last week, but I think if you think he's going to get the start, then he's definitely worth a curveball. He's just got such a good record. But again, you just never know with Pep roulette and Pep's mind games. But if he gets the start at Newcastle, then you'd back him to score.
Yeah, out of every team in England and worldwide, Sergio Aguero's got the most goals against Newcastle. So to say a good record is probably an understatement for a goal scorer like him. He always manages to turn up when he plays us. But thank you very much, Matt. That wraps up another awesome Guru section.
Oh, there we go. Technical issues. There we go. We made it. Lads, I just wanted to take just a quick moment just to pay tribute to Jordan Banks this week, who obviously from my hometown in Blackpool lost his life when he was struck by lightning on Tuesday evening. Jordan was a good friend of my fiance's family and friends, just up on screen at the moment if you're watching the video cast. But yeah, unfortunately lost his life doing something that he loves, doing a one-on-one football session with his one of his local coaches. Tragically struck by lightning, and such a horrendous moment, which has kind of rocked the football community across the country and now reaching across the world. You would have noticed Liverpool this morning wearing T-shirts over the top of the jerseys at the start of the game, paying tribute to Jordan. With number 7 on the backs. I'm sure, Chris, you would have recognised that as well. And it's obviously we're over here in Australia, and people have been on social media paying tribute to him, and something which should never have happened to anybody. And it's obviously very close to home, this one, and very close in my community as well. So I just wanted to pay tribute to Jordan, and obviously thoughts and condolences go to Danielle and Danny and his family and Matt. And it's a big loss, and it's definitely shook the football community and close community of ours.
Yeah, absolutely heartbreaking there. As Jack said, condolences go out to all his friends and family and everybody affected within the area and worldwide. It's been really nice to see football fans and humans from around the globe unite to pay respects to this young lad's life that was tragically taken. So that was very, very good of the world to pay their respects and condolences to him.
Yeah, top man, Elliot. And yeah, thanks for that, and thanks to all the listeners just taking a moment just to pay tribute there. And anything you can do with sharing the awareness for he's got a GoFundMe page that you can find. If you go on GoFundMe and type in Jordan Banks, you'll find it on there. Anything anyone can contribute on there would be obviously greatly appreciated. And Liverpool and James Milner have got behind it, and they've really supported his cause and helping the family out. But thanks to everyone for the community there, and we'll jump back into the podcast.
Yeah, and we'll move on to our final section of the podcast now. We'll move on to the draft section, which is it's got to be the most boring part of FPL these days, lads. It's absolutely terrible because I have lost once again. So I shoot down that mini league. But someone that didn't lose was Jack Gillibrand, who beat Rolando Aarons this week from 67 points to 41, despite leaving Danny Ings on his bench. So, Jack, what were you thinking there?
Listen, I wasn't even confident Danny Ings is even going to play again this season, let alone come on and score. He bagged 2, didn't he? So, yeah, it was a bit of a shock that he was even going to play. But then, to be fair, I think Cresswell, Grealish, Chilwell didn't play the first game. And then also, it just scrolled down again, onto my bench. Rodriguez didn't play either. So I thought, he might get a run out anyway, Ings. Even if the other guys didn't play, but then all of a sudden, Grealish came on and made an appearance. Chilwell played as well. Rodriguez didn't, but I think Target came on off my bench. So, yeah, listen, I didn't need it in the end. Got to rest him for the next game, and we'll take it from there. Because I'm going into war this week with Matty Day, I think, on the fixtures.
a little bit of squad rotation there is definitely needed towards the end of the season. Unfortunately, as I mentioned, I lost to Dave, who's he's been brilliant this season in FPL. He's absolutely smashed me once again with 87 points from Statman. He had Fernandez and Greenwood, so I was never really going to win that battle. Was I? It was like bringing a knife to a gunfight against Dave there. But another person who's absolutely smashed someone else this week in FPL is James Gasden, who's beaten Ollie 90 points to 35, and he's overtaken me in some fashion as well. He had Edouard Mendy with 11 points, Bobby Firmino with 17, Che Adams with 13, Mane with 12. So he's got 4 over double-digit hauls there just in his starting 11, and then he got his selection spot on as well because there's not really much doing on the bench for him as well. So hats off to James there. We sort of myself included, sort of wrote him off a couple of weeks ago in the season. I thought, top 4 or 5 was sort of decided, and the basement boys were just going to have their own little party down bottom. But I'm now one of the said basement boys, lads. So I'm going to have to see if I can try and shoot myself back up there for the last 3 game weeks, which is going to be an interesting one. And then Matt, your routine weekly win in draft, it seems like you never really lose at the minute, mate. You beat Peely 71 to 56, and how relieved were you to see that you'd beaten him this week?
Yeah, it's relief. It's tough with the likes of Peely and Rolando because they don't put too much time into their teams, and they've still got players that are starting to hit form now. So yeah, very relieved, and we had a reasonable score. So I'm happy to win that one, and go into the El Clasico this weekend.
Definitely, and as you're speaking of it now, we will move on to the fixtures for next week, and there's absolutely no debate whatsoever for what the game of the week is going to be. It's going to be Jack Gillibrand versus Matt Day, the classic guru versus the draft guru. It's going to be, when people say title deciders, lads, this is as title decider as it gets, in my opinion. And I'm sure there'll be a couple of nerves, maybe a couple of last minute transactions from you both this week, but we'll just have to see how this one pans out. Jack, are you sort of a little bit confident going into it? Are you ready for battle?
Oh, I just wish I was playing. I'd love to be playing in this team. Imagine if you could put me in there, put Matt in the team. Oh God, I'd be smashing him just for this win now. It's game on, isn't it? It's game on. I know he's got a dodgy left knee as well, so I'll be after that.
Yeah. It's going to be tricky. Like I'd look over Jack's team, and he's got the attack on me. He's got Ings, he's got Kane, he's got Antonio, and I'm pretty scared. But look, Reedy, I'm hoping Liverpool can pull something out. Mo Salah, come out and get me the points. That's what I'm really counting on. I've got a few Man City assets in there as well, but Pep could do me with a rotation, so it's going to be a tricky one. But look, I will say, and look, this isn't the Spurs mentality coming in, but I will say it's Jack's title to lose because he was top for what. He was top for about 6 months. I think I've only been top for a few weeks. So if I come out and win this, I think it will be a bit of a Leicester City miracle. So
here we go.
Here we go, boys.
He's playing the mind games already. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to show you. I'll share my screen just so you can see the team for this week. I don't know if you can see that now, lads. So I've made my transfers. Like Godfrey did great for me. I've managed to get hold of a couple of City assets, but God knows if they're going to play or not. Just because I'm struggling big time. I've got Pogba, Ziyech, and Chilwell and Schmeichel on the bench with no game this week. So that's my only big issue. But I've got the front 3 with Ings, Antonio, and Kane with looking good, I hope. And Grealish will be back. I'm going to keep that Everton back line as well. So it's it might be all right in here. Possibly, I don't know. As long as all 11 play, perform.
If you aren't watching the video cast, you won't have seen Matt Day eagerly leaning in towards the screen there, just to analyse every single inch of Jack's team.
I can't see his team.
Taking notes down on his notepad.
And I'm trying to see who that second Man City player in midfield is, but I can only imagine it's Torres, right?
Yeah, it's Torres, mate. So I've got a feeling he might play against Newcastle.
Yeah, I do as
well. I hope not. I'll tell you my ones when we obviously get to my team. But look, I'm not going to lie, it's a good side. You've got the 2 Everton boys in defence, which I think you could probably get clean sheets out of. I can see a goal from each one of your strikers, and to be honest, on paper, like you should be beating me. But look, we'll see. The game's obviously not played on paper, so
that's it.
Definitely not, mate. And Jack, would you just like to bring up Matt's team there so we could just sort of preview what he's doing for this week?
I've put it back on yours. Sorry, mate.
Oh, you
It's
have
on
as
yours
well.
now. There you go. All good.
Of course. There we go. And Matt, have you made any changes this week? Any transactions early on? Because there's a couple of players there that aren't going to be playing.
Are all them not playing? What's that?
No, it's a glitch. It's a glitch.
Yeah,
I'll reload it. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, Jack?
The one thing I'll say about draft is it can come down to timing. And I saw this fixture about 3 game weeks ago, and I looked at it and I thought, damn, I'm going to have about 4 or 5, maybe 6 players out because of the FA Cup final. So I'm going to have to do something, obviously playing against, Jack, being the draft guru. So I've got Benteke in there, managed to snap him up for Werner. So Werner's gone. So I've got one up front with Benteke. I've managed to put John Stones back in. He's back from his ban, so he's fresh. I'm hoping he plays. Maybe bags a goal from a set play. I've got Laporte in defence with him. One or the other might play. So I've got Reguilon on my bench coming off in case one of them doesn't play. I've got Reedy's man Sigurdsson in midfield. I've got Zaha. I've got Eze. I've got Salah. Bernardo Silva, who I think will get a start as well. So yeah, it's not a bad side. I think that I'm really, really lacking though in that strike force. Pretty heavy in midfield. I did look at getting in an Everton defender, but there was only I think a couple in there that were either had injury flags or don't play. And I thought, no, I've managed to put Phillips in as well actually from Liverpool. Got him this morning, so pretty happy with the side. It's just, can it beat Jack's attack? I think can it beat Jack's attack and his 2 defenders? So.
I think it's going to take a real draft masterclass from you on this one, Matt, because there's a lot of players that obviously are not featuring. So it really is, like you say, digging out what you can of what's left there, really. And I think one of the main ones could be the City. That City game could play a key part in it, depending who you've got in. Bernardo Silva, obviously, and stuff. So that they're the sort of transfers that are going to potentially get you the points that Jack can't get. You just got to hope that his strikers have a blank game week maybe and not hit, and then I think it'll be closer than what maybe it appears on paper. That's for sure.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you what you were going to make of that game, Chris, but I think your points are pretty clear there. We'll just ask everybody quickly, starting with you, Jack, and we'll descend downwards how we think that this game's going to go with a one-word answer of Jack or Matt. What are you saying, Jack?
Matt Day. He's in. Pressure's on you, mate. Right,
Marino mind games. I'm going to go with Jack this week. Reedy?
I don't know. I'd say I honestly don't know. I really think it's going to be close, but I'm just going to say Matt's going to nick it.
Ooh.
And Guru, what do you make of that then? All pressure on you now.
Have we had a draw this season?
Yeah, we have.
We have. Because James has had a couple of draws, I think. Yeah.
Thing is, even if I win this, the pressure will be on the week after because I've got a couple of tough fixtures. But based on this week, I'll go Jack because he's got my man Harry Kane in there. So I can't look past Jack with that strike force. So yeah, Jack for the win. He should win it easy. I think 20 points clear. 20 points ahead of me. Yeah, this week.
I'll take it. Well,
Christmas miracle. Otherwise, if I win this.
It's all even for the verdict, and we'll just quickly run off the other remaining fixtures. It's the father-son derby where Papa Peely plays Ollie. James takes on Dave, which is going to be a massive game for both sides there. And then I play Rolando. And then the league is sort of shaping up a little bit nicely. Jack and Matt are sort of pulling off as the only two that are really going to be in for the title race this season, but we're not going to discount Ollie and Dave off as they sit in 3rd and 4th, and James in 5th, myself in 6th, and then Peely and Rolando, the bottom 2 boys of the league that have been all season, and it looks like they're going to remain there. But that wraps up the draft section of the podcast. And we'll move on now. We'll just let Jack, he's got a little special announcement for us and all of you sitting at home listening to this. So, Jack, take it away, mate.
Oh, cheers, Elliot. So, obviously, the last maybe, I think 8 to 10 rounds and 8 to 10 match weeks, we've been announced at the start. We're excited for this summer's competition for the Euros. So we've been busy in the background, trying to prepare that, waiting for UEFA to launch it. so that we can bring you the Euro stream. And obviously we're delighted to announce that we are going live with our Euro fantasy football competition with our mini leagues. So we've got me and the Guru have got together, chatted about what we could do with everyone this summer and bring you the Euro fantasy comp. So we've got a couple of mini leagues on the go. So if you're looking to enter the competition for the Euros, we'd love to have you in ours. Obviously, all our followers, we're predicting everyone will want to get involved in this and jump aboard. We're actually introducing our first paid mini league as well, Elliot. So we've got paid mini league and also a free one. So anyone looking to enter in the paid one, it's 25 Aussie dollars. So I think, Reedy, when I spoke to you about it, mate, it's about 13 great British pound sterlings in there. So hopefully you'll be entering into that. And we've got a cash prize of $250 Aussie dollars in there as well. So probably about £130 that would be. I know we've got a few international followers as well in Indonesia and Thailand, so I'm not too sure what that translates to in there. But if you want to enter the competition, so the Pay Mini League is online on the website now, so e-sportslive.com.au/FPL Addicts /Euro 2020, and we've got our competition. I've just put it on the banner on the video cast now. There's a link at the bottom, so if you just type that in, you can then enter the paid mini league, and also the free mini league. So everyone should be jumping on that free mini league anyway. But if you fancy winning a couple of cash prizes each round, so there are actually going to be 7 match days during the Euros. So we'll be doing 7 pods, 7 VODs with Esports Live and the FPL team, as well as our host, and there's a couple of special guests. So we'll be bringing you that, and everything's going to be on our private Discord channel as well. So if you want to enter that competition, jump online, get into the competition. Every match day round is going to be a $30 cash prize. So you can literally win your money back in a little bit more if you get the biggest haul in there. So the Guru, what do you think? Are you excited for this?
Can't wait. Yeah, can't wait. I do like an international spin-off tournament. I've done a few in my time, so looking forward to it. It's an interesting one. It's they're quick. The match weeks are very quick, sort of back to back, real quick sort of flow. Really enjoyable stuff. Can't wait. I was going to say, question for everyone: what's the first player on your team sheet going to be? I know who mine is. It's going to be Harry Kane.
It's your man Harry Kane for me as well, mate. It's got to be.
Reedy.
Oh, Mbappe.
Not reading on first on my team sheet. Oh.
Stick him up top.
Still injured, mate. I've been no good.
What a player.
It'd have to be Mbappe, I think.
Yeah, nice. I think I'll be Harry Kane as well. Got to get Harry Kane on there. I think obviously England we're expecting to go all the way all the way to the final and take it out with the squad we've got. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So Harry Kane's got to be on there and all the way. So I think, great question, Guru. I'm sure everyone's, Mbappe, Harry Kane. But we're looking forward to getting a lot of insight from the Guru. He's been doing his international scouting. He's going to be bringing you heaps of knowledge, as well as the rest of our nonsense that we bring on the pod. But we're very excited about the Euros and doing this spin-off, and especially with our first paid mini league competition as well. Reedy, are you in?
I'm in, definitely. Of course. What else are you going to do? What else are you going to do when the season's over? You've got to get involved.
Exactly, that is it. And Elliot, what are you thinking, mate? Are you and all the boys going to be jumping in as well?
Oh, absolutely, mate. It's the void of the couple of months where there's no football. It's exactly what you need with the Euros in England. Taking it the whole way, hopefully it's going to be a brilliant, mate, and hopefully a lot of fun for everybody involved.
Yeah, perfect. So, just once again, guys, you can jump on the website now. We're posting this on our social media page as well with a direct link. So it's e-sportslive.com.au/FPL Addicts /Euro 2020. So jump on there and enter the competition ASAP and start your scouting on the go.
Yeah, thank you very much for that, Jack. That sort of wraps up another week of the FPL podcast. We sort of switched into a little bit of the Euros at the end there, but we really want to emphasise that we really love it if you'd get involved with the Euros Fantasy League and everything like that. It just, it fills the void for 2 months of no domestic football into the European football, so it should be absolutely brilliant. And I know as England fans, we can't wait. We're roaring, we're ready to go. So should be a lot of fun. But we'll switch back to FPL just quickly. And Reedy, the guest back on today. Are you confident this week that you're going to have a decent week?
Yeah. No. I know I was a bit hesitant there, but when I say yeah, I mean what I mean is I've got a full 11. I've not got anything where it's like I've got a couple on my bench where they're not playing because of the final, cup final and whatnot. But yeah, my team's looking pretty good. So I'm looking at hitting the average at least. And if I can do even better than that, then great. I've brought Danny Ings in last minute. So I've got a free transfer there. I was going to roll over. I was going to do the Elliott Classic roll over till next week and ship a couple out. But I thought, Danny Ings is back. They've got Fulham. It's looking a bit tasty, that one. So I brought him in.
Yeah, definitely. Should be an awesome week for everyone involved. Best of luck to everyone out there. May all your FPL dreams come true. Thank you all for joining us once again. Take care, stay safe, and goodbye for now.